I'm going to discuss now, which is the law of conservation of energy. The law of conservation of energy is the most difficult, abstract one, and the most useful, as a matter of fact, of all the conservation laws. It's more difficult to understand than the charge in these other ones, because in the charge in these other ones, it's obviously merely, the mechanism is perfectly clear. It's a conservation of the object, sort of. I mean, not quite, because of this problem that we get some new things from old things, but it isn't, it's really a matter of counting. But the conservation of energy is a little more difficult. Here we have a number which is not changed in time, but the number doesn't represent the number of any particular thing. I would like to make a kind of silly analogy to explain a little bit about it. And I want you to imagine that a mother has a very difficult child. Well, not necessarily difficult, but she has a child who she leaves alone in a room with 28 blocks. The indestructible, absolutely indestructible blocks, like the charge. And the child plays with the blocks and then during the day, and when the mother comes back, she discovers, indeed, there are 28 blocks. She checks all the time the conservation of blocks. Well, this goes on for a few days until one day when she comes in, there are only 27 blocks. One block she finds later outside the window. He threw one out the window. So first we must appreciate that conservation laws involve that you watch out that the stuff that you're trying to check doesn't go out through some wall. And the same thing could happen the other way if a boy came to play with him and brought in some blocks. Of course, those are obvious technical matters that you have to be careful of when you talk about a conservation law. But now suppose, however, that when the mother comes to count the blocks, she finds there are only 25 blocks, but suspects that in a little toy box, in a box that the boy has, he has hidden the blocks. So she says, I'm going to open the box. He says, no, you cannot open the box. How can she tell? She's a very clever mother, unlike most. She would say, the box weighs, I know when it's empty, 16 ounces, and each block weighs 3 ounces, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh the box. So she would have another thing, number of blocks seen plus weight of box minus 16 ounces divided by 3 ounces. And that adds always the same to 28. Goes on for a while until it doesn't check, but she notices that the dirty water in the sink is changing its level. So we have the water level. Height of water in sink minus 6 inches, which it is when there's no block in it, divided by 1/4 of an inch, which is the height that the water rises when a block is in the dirty water. Now, as the boy becomes more ingenious and the mother continues to be ingenious, more and more terms must be added on here, which all really represent blocks, but from a mathematical standpoint are abstract calculations, because the blocks are not seen. Now I would like to draw my analogy and tell you what is common to this and the conservation of energy and what is different. Suppose that you never saw the blocks at all, that in any one of the situations there were never any blocks. Then the mother would be always calculating a whole lot of terms, which is called blocks in the box, blocks in the water, blocks and so on. But there are other differences, that there aren't any blocks as far as we can tell. And that the numbers that come out here are not integers, unlike the case of the blocks with the child. Suppose, it could happen to the poor lady that when she calculates this number, it comes out 6 1/8 blocks. And when she calculates this number, it comes out 7/8 of a block, and the rest of them give 21, still 28. That's the way it looks. So what we discover is that we have a scheme in which we can find a sequence of rules, and from the rules, each one of the different kinds of calculations we call calculating the same thing, number of blocks, or energy, by different rules. And then we add all the numbers together from all the different forms of energy, it always adds up to the same total. But as far as we know, there are no real units. It's not made out of little ball bearings. So it's abstract. It's purely mathematical. There exists a number such that you can calculate and it doesn't change. I cannot interpret any better than that. And this energy has all kinds of forms, analogous to the blocks in the box and blocks in the sink water and so on. There's energy due to motion. It's called kinetic energy. There's energy due to gravitational interaction, the gravitational potential energy it's called. There's a thing called thermal energy, electrical energy, light energy, elastic energy, and springs and so on, chemical energy, nuclear energy, and there is also an energy that a particle has from its mere existence, an energy that depends on its mass directly. That's a contribution of Einstein, as you undoubtedly know. E equals mc squared is what I was talking about, which is a famous equation, this mystic law. Now, actually, although I mentioned a large number of energies, I would like to explain that we're not completely ignorant about the thing and that we understand the relationship of some of them. For example, what we call thermal energy is to a large extent merely the energy, the kinetic energy of motion of the particles inside an object. What we call elastic energy and chemical energy both have about the same origin, namely the forces between the atoms. When the atoms rearrange in a new pattern, some energy is changed. That quantity changes. That means that some other quantity has to change. So, for instance, if the chemical energy changes, then heat energy is changed. So that in burning something, the chemical energy changes, and you find heat where you didn't have the heat before, because it all has to add up to it. But elastic energy and chemical energy are both interactions of atoms, and we now understand the interactions of the energies of the atoms, or those chemical interactions, or those interactions of the atoms, to be a combination of two things. One is electrical energy, and the other is kinetic energy, again, only the formula for it is quantum mechanical instead of the usual, it's a little different one. Light energy is nothing but electrical energy because light has now been interpreted as an electric and magnetic wave. The nuclear energy has is not represented in the terms of the others, but as a result of what do we say? Due to nuclear forces. Well, we didn't say anything. But nuclear energy is not connected yet to the others. I'm not just talking about the energy released. In the uranium nucleus, there's a certain amount of energy, and then when the thing disintegrates, it changes the amount of energy in the nucleus, but the total amount of energy in the world doesn't change, so a lot of heat and stuff is generated in the process in order to balance that thing out.